Mr. Shapiro, you talked about white privilege, and just this week, I had a conversation with Rachel Lazar, who's done some work, a Jewish American woman who's done some work on this area, as well as having extensive conversations with Dr. Greg Parks of Wake Forest University, who's also talked quite a bit about critical race theory. And it's my understanding that white privilege is not telling individuals that they cannot speak, but it is a term for societal privilege that individuals have as a benefit of their white skin. And I don't think that, and I think universities would be remiss to then say that because you're white, you're not allowed to say anything that's critical of white people. I didn't know that white privilege actually went into that sphere. My understanding is it's just, and the issue is that white privilege makes people uncomfortable to talk about the societal privilege that they have.
Well, all right, pause it right there. You just watched that exchange. Ben Shapiro sitting across from a congresswoman talking about white privilege, racism, and speech on campus. And this is exactly why these conversations matter, because too often they're framed to shut people up instead of open minds. What's going on, Patriots? This is Freedom's Voice, where we stand for free speech, equal justice, and common sense. If you care about this country, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, and drop a comment below. I want to hear what you think about this debate. Now let's get into it.
Well, to me, what I say on campuses all the time is if you want to cite instances of racism that we can all find and fight together, that's something that I'm more than willing to stand next to you and fight, because that's obviously stuff that we should fight together. But when you just say that there is a white privilege out there in the ether and that by dint of birth your skin color generates for you an advantage, what you're really saying to people is that your view is less valuable because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument, that's a character argument, that's not a rational political argument that can actually be taken on in any way. It's more of a cudgel and a club than it is an attempt to open a discussion.
Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her and fight for her?
As I say, I would. This is the first I'm hearing about it, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But from hearing about it, maybe because it's local. I mean, I'm from LA. But in any case, I'm more than happy to stand alongside her and fight whatever group was responsible for this. Not only more than happy. I mean, you're talking about the alt-right. Again, I was the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right last year. So I'm more than happy to do all that. And I think there's one more distinction that has to be made. When we talk about cases like Taylor's, they're horrific, and the administration is siding with Taylor. Okay, the administration is doing the right thing by Taylor, or trying to do the right thing by Taylor, as they should be. And I think that we need to make a distinction between cases where the administration is actively participating in the suppression of speech and cases in which the administration is trying to do the right thing in order to punish people for application of crime.
Ben Shapiro said something that the mainstream media hates to admit. Yes, advantages can exist in society, but that does not mean your voice should be canceled because of your skin color. And that's the key point the left keeps dodging. What we're seeing today isn't about fighting racism anymore. It's about ranking Americans by identity and deciding whose experiences count and whose don't. That's not justice. That's division. When the Congresswoman pressed him about hate speech against African-American students, notice what Ben did. He didn't dodge it. He didn't excuse it. He said clearly that he would fight it. And that matters. Because real conservatives don't defend racism. We oppose it wherever it shows up. But here's where the left always crosses the line. They take real problems and use them as an excuse to silence speech, especially speech they don't like. Shapiro made an important distinction. There's a difference between stopping real harassment and universities using safety as a weapon to shut down debate. Free speech doesn't exist only for popular opinions. It exists precisely for uncomfortable ones. As a right-wing patriot, I believe this country was built on the idea that your arguments matter more than your identity. You don't win debates by silencing people. You win them by having better ideas. Telling someone their experience doesn't matter because of their skin color is just another form of prejudice, no matter how polished the language sounds. We should be teaching young Americans to think, debate, and challenge ideas, not to fear speaking because someone might label them. That mindset doesn't build strong citizens. It builds obedient ones. So let me ask you this. Do you think free speech is being protected on campuses today or controlled? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you believe in liberty, equal treatment under the law, and standing up without apology, subscribe to Freedom's Voice, hit that like button, and share this video. Because freedom only survives when people are brave enough to defend it. United States.